were making that much, you're going to make
Dude.
a ton of money.
My first time out, see these guys. When I came down to Florida, I came right down. I had a gig in Hollywood. I was working with Sammy Davis Jr. for a few years, but that's a whole other deal there. We'll talk about that some other time. But I wound up coming back, and a buddy of mine come back home. I grew up in North Carolina. My father was 82nd Airborne. Went to school. Went through my high school years in Wisconsin, of all freaking places, freezing my nuts off, and. So I do this gig out in California, come back to Wisconsin. A buddy of mine that lived next door to me calls me up and says, dude, I'm moving to Florida tomorrow. He says, my brother-in-law is running a fish house on Chokoloskee Island, this little island I had been to years before for vacation, just visiting. He says, I'm going down to work on a crab boat. I said, want to go? And I was a machine, I had taken back up a machinist job at that time, and I didn't even give it a second thought. I said, shit, yeah, man, I'm in. So just like that, I packed all my crap, and I was gone. The next day, we drove all the way down and got to the end of 29, and the dead end 29 dead ends right on Chokoloskee Island.
Wow!
And that's where I started. And
how did you get first introduced to Holland Pot?
Well, the thing of it is when you just show up like that, people are, it's such a small town that people are sideways glancing you.
Yeah.
Who's this guy? Who's this guy? They're always eyeballing you in that way. But because of the people that I moved down there for, my friend Mark, his sister and brother-in-law ran Ernest Hamilton Stone Crabs on Chokoloskee Island. So they were part of the family there. Everybody knew them. So Mark was. His sister was there, and I came down with him, so everybody knew where we came from, so it was cool. And we weren't cops. We weren't infiltrating. We weren't, and all that kind of stuff. So, it kind of got around to, it's all cool. Well, Mark gets a job on this crab boat, and the other guy on the stern with him, there's only 3 guys on the boat. The other guy on the stern with him is from Michigan, and the captain, Billy, he's really not digging this guy, because there's... so they decided. I said, dude, I'm helping build a house for Mark's brother-in-law. At the time, just to kill some time, make a little bit of money. And he says, look, we're going to get rid of this guy. We want a job on the boat. I said, yeah, fuck yeah. So they worked this guy to death. I mean, and you can do that too, dude.
Yeah.
I mean, it's bust-ass work. I mean, we can tear a motherfucker up.
Fishermen
real quick.
don't fuck around, man. Those are
No.
some of the hardest working dudes ever.
Fuck, dude. my back is shot because of this shit now. Yeah. But he quits, and they bring me on. Well, they give me I already knew the rundown. You get up early, 3 or so in the morning. It takes you 2-3 hours to get to the traps, the lines, and the traps are set in lines. We have buoys that are about the size a little bit smaller than a soccer ball, a styrofoam buoy, and with a number on it. And we use what we call catch poles. We have like a 1x1 piece of lath that's maybe 6 feet long. We fiberglass a shark hook on the end of it and grind the barb off of it so we can, grab that line, pull it in. Whereas the deadliest catch guys, they throw the grappling hook out there between 2 bags that are floating, and there's a line between those 2 bags. They catch that line and pull it in because, they got a mammy fucking 1,000-pound trap to pull in. Ours are only 70. So we grab that buoy, and as fast as I can, put it through the block, around the shiv that's already turning, and the trap's coming up like that. So, we start doing this by day. And
this episode of the podcast is brought to you by the best bongs in the business. With Freeze Pipe's freezable glycerin coils, you will enjoy colder, bigger hits without the throat burning or intense coughing. Check out Freeze Pipe's entire line of unique pipes, bubblers, bongs, and dab rigs at thefreezepipe.com and use the code CONCRETE to save 10% off your first order. That's thefreezepipe.com and use the code KONCRETE.
I go out there, and they explained it all to me, so we're headed out that first day. And I just happened to wake up. The bunks is in the wheelhouse. And I happened to wake up and look out like this, and the sun's up. And I'm thinking, we should have been started by now. The sun's up. I look over, and Captain Billy, he's got a big grin on his face. He's looking over at me and goes, he says, Timmy, He says, we're not going to go pull traps today. He says, buddy, we're going to go offshore and unload a pop boat from Colombia tonight. And I said, cool. They kind of shanghaied me into it, man, knowing me, they knew I'd be cool about it, so it was kind of a tongue-in-cheek sort of a thing. I said, all right, cool, let's go, man. So that was at 15 tons that night. So we did that, and the very next day we get on the boat, we get ready, we'll go out, and, we're going to go pull traps again, and here we go again. I wake up, no pulling's going on. He says, okay, tonight it's 20 tons. Tonight it's 22 tons. I said, okay. 2 nights in a row, nearly 80,000 pounds of, 80 tons of fucking weed. But I got paid rookie pay at that time. It was only $5,000 per load, per night. That was rookie pay. But now that captain understood he's got a crew that's ready to bust ass and willing to work. Now my pay changes. It goes according to the size of the load we're hauling in. So if the load's 50,000 pounds, or 75,000 pounds, I'm getting paid $75,000 a night. And there were times when we were working, 2-3 times a week, nights a week, sometimes 4 nights a week. And we're not the only boat. There's other boats out. You go to this one. You go to this one. I mean, they were stacked out there like a fucking parking lot, man. Ridiculous. In one instance, we go out to unload this boat. It's supposed to be 60,000 pounds of shit on this thing. And it was a freighter, It was like 460-foot freighter or some shit like that.
Fuck.
So there were 3 boats, assigned to do the, offload to meet the mothership. So we go offshore, we get together, and we're diving, we're swimming, we're fucking off all day long, having a great old time, getting stoned and shit. And at about 4 in the afternoon or so like this, just out of nowhere, this little Cessna single engine comes roaring across over the top of the boat. And you can't hear a fucking airplane coming when he's down on the water. Mm-mm. You don't hear it until it's right on top, So here comes this plane, and it comes up, and it just misses our lower end antenna. That's how close this fucking guy was. It turns out to be Daryl. He's the guy that's doing the job. This is his job. Oh. He's one of the 5 brothers that were working us all.
Okay.
So he buzzes us like that, and he goes up like this, and he turns, and he comes back, and he throws a milk carton out of the fucking plane. So we ease on over there, and we fucking, open it up, and there's a note in it. And it says, one of you guys got to flip a coin. I don't give a shit. One of you guys got to go unload this boat over here. He says, because there was shit being unloaded all over the place.
What the fuck?
So we were going to go with the original load. It was up to the other 2. So they flipped and whatever. So it was, that boat takes off to go unload that boat. We're waiting to unload our 60,000. So the way it works is the horizon on the water when you're out there, if you're familiar with this at all, being right from Florida, your horizon is typically 8 miles before the curve of the earth puts it out of your sight. Mm-hmm. Depending on how big the vessel is above the water line, that can stretch to 8, 9, 9.5 miles sometimes at the most. So you're out of sight. You're over the curve of the earth, out of sight.
At 8 miles?
At 8 miles.
Okay.
So we sit off the horizon till, about 8, 9 o'clock, somewhere like that, about 2-3 hours before sunset. Call signs. All these boats have different call signs that are given to us prior to us going out on the job. So this one's Felipe, Zorro. Felipe, Zorro. He says it twice. The captain says it twice. Then he hears it back. Felipe, Zorro, come on. So they know it's us coming. So nobody else coming to that boat, they're not going to be shocked and surprised. So here we go. We pull up to this fucking freighter and this goddamn thing. It's the deck's 16 feet at least above my head. And, we pull up there and there's nowhere to tie off. So Billy, the captain, the 2 captains have to keep the boats up against the side of the ship. Because there was probably, God, I don't know, there must have been 80 guys on this boat, man. And they were going down one hatch, single file, going down one hatch, coming out another hatch on the other side, carrying a bale on their shoulder. One right after the other, throwing them off the edge, down to our boat down below.
Landing on the deck?
16 feet down. Bam! These fuckers are smashing the deck. And, you know, we're trying our damnedest to not get hit.
Right.
Moving them out of the way, and all of a sudden we hear
fuck you up if one of those land on your head.
We're here. Oh, dude, it'd kill you. I mean, this is 70 pounds of compressed fucking weed, dude. And the deck starts crunching. Crunch. The fiberglass, because these fuckers are hitting like bricks. Crunch. And we're thinking, oh, God, there goes our deck. But because we couldn't keep up with the 80 whatever guys throwing the shit, they're not throwing it on us. They're throwing it on the other boat, too. You know, they're loading us both at the same time.
Right.
Well, the bales start to stack up, and they start hitting one another, so that solved the crunching of the deck problem. Mm-hmm. Now, all we had to do was, you know,
organize it,
dragging them and putting them anywhere we could put them before, you know, fill the hole up, put the deck lids on, fill the deck, you know, around the wheelhouse, on the bow, on top of the boat, wherever we could stick this shit. So we figured, you know, Captain Billy, he's in the wheelhouse, and we're all kind of doing a rough count. We figured 400 pieces, roughly, thereabouts, would be half the load. They would have the other half. So we're getting to where we're thinking we got about 400, and I'm looking up at the captain. He's leaning against the railing, peeling an orange. And all this all fucking shit's going on, right? And I look up and I go, how many more? And he says to me in this half-assed English, he goes, 50 more. I'm like, okay, so we're counting 50, 60, 70. Jesus Christ. How many fucking more? And he goes, 50 more. I think that's the only number the guy knew because he doesn't know English, right? He's just yelling, 50 more, right? So they keep throwing these goddamn things. So now we're at the point where, you know what scuppers are on a boat?
No, what's a scupper?
Scupper holes are where, you know, when you're working, you're bringing water and rain and splash on the deck, the water runs out. Out the back of the boat.
Yep.
Those are the scuppers. Well, now we're so loaded, the scuppers are starting to go underwater.
Oh, shit.
And that's going to sink the fucking boat because, I mean, once you get water on the deck, it's in the engine hatch, it's in the fucking bilge, it's all over the fucking place. So we take a knife and we cut open a couple of life vests, pull the wadding out of them, and stuff the scuppers and plug them so the boat won't sink. While we're doing this shit's still coming. And Billy says, he's yelling. I mean, we've got this shit stacked up to where we can't even see inside the wheelhouse hardly because it's, you know, we just left a little space for the door to open up. And Billy says, we're getting the fuck out of here, man. He starts the boat up. Boom, big black smoke, you know, and shit bellowing out the back end. And we start going. These fuckers are still throwing bales off.